I'm Dr. V.
And I'm Dr. A, two doctors on a mission to answer your burning questions about burning sensations and all things science.
This is What the Woo. I was looking at some old photos from college, like in the 90s, and everybody's eyebrows were so thin. And I thought they looked good at the time.
Oh, yeah.
But like in retrospect, they look terrible now that like the big bushy brows are in.
Those big bushy brows are a little much.
But it was so nice for me because I have naturally sort of sparse brows, so I didn't have to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
I could just go out as is. But now that the big brows are in, I've got to color them in just to feel like I belong.
Yeah, I can relate. Do you notice anything different?
I know, I was going to say, like, your eyebrows look really on point.
Huh, funny you should mention that. So, like I hate my brows and they're always falling off because of some meds I take. But I just gave in. I was like, I'm sick of drawing my stupid brows in every day.
Yeah, which is what I do.
Yeah. So I went and got microblading last week.
Okay, now I didn't even know what this was until a friend of mine was talking about it. So they tattoo individual like eyebrow hairs right onto your face.
Yes, like they're literally putting like little stripies that are supposed to look like eyebrow hairs on your face.
You gotta really trust the person.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, do you know I did like a consultation with the woman and then like we talked forever and then I was like, could you just like draw them on first, and made her promise they're not going to be like Groucho Marx.
Because I've seen some afters and it's horrible. They look like God, who's it? Eugene, the guy who's like the improv guy from Schitt's Creek, Eugene Levy.
No, I don't know who that is.
Or Bert. Like Bert and Ernie brows.
Yes, like Sesame Street brows, totally.
but no, they look good. And I mean, I feel like it's reasonable to say, can we talk before you tattoo my face? Because generally face tattoos are not correlated with positive outcomes.
Yeah, we all saw when that permanent makeup trend happened. What was that, 10, 15 years ago? And they all turned, like, everyone had blue eyebrows after a year because the pigment screwed up.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was terrible. So, yes, I was, like, in panic mode the whole week prior. Because, back up, what I didn't tell you is that I got henna brows, like, a month ago, shall we say? Because I was like, okay, I just need to decide, can I do this? So I got the henna brows.
Okay.
Dave, I sent my husband a picture when they were on, and he's like, did you Photoshop that? I was like, oh shit, no, I didn't. I came home, he was horrified. I was horrified as well. I wore glasses nonstop to hide the lines of my big ass ugly
But that's
brows.
just like a temporary tattoo. It's just ink.
Thank God.
How long did that last? Because I don't remember seeing that. They must have washed off pretty quickly.
We were on a recording hiatus.
Okay.
And I did a lot of exfoliation.
I was going to say.
So the next week, like, my facial skin was super smooth from apricot scrubs. And it went away. But then I was like, man, it was nice waking up and having brows. Not those brows particularly, but
Some brows.
Some brows. So yeah, so I like bit the bullet and did microblading. And let me tell you, like, it's not a spa treatment. Like, you don't go in and relax. It's a little bit painful.
Well, I'm sure because it's
Tattoos
tattooing,
on your brow bone.
I only have one tattoo. It's on top of my foot.
Ouch.
And I've been told that that's the most painful place to get a tattoo. And so I was like, well, I'll just go. I don't care. Like, whatever. I'll go for it. It was not a big deal. Anybody, like, I've talked to people about this. People who say that it's the most painful thing have never actually had childbirth.
Right.
Or probably a kidney stone. Yeah, I was going to say kidney stone. Because everybody who's done one or the other is like, the foot tattoo, seriously, is not a big deal.
Right. Well, I had one tattoo. It's on my shoulder. No big deal till he got right over my shoulder blade. And I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, like, I mean, every once in a while they'll hit the nerve and you're like, But the worst
Right.
part was I had to cover my tattoo with a big sticky thing of Vaseline while you're waiting for the top layer of your skin to kind of scar. So did you... Is that part
Girlfriend,
of your...
yeah.
Yeah,
So
on your
I'm
face,
asking
too?
this salon girl who's, essentially a tattoo artist. I'm like, hey, so what do I need to do? Do I need to take care of it like my other tattoo? Yeah, you should put some coconut oil on it.
No!
I know. And I had my moment and I was like, so why coconut oil? She's like, well, I just feel like it's more natural. And I was like, so you think that's the best thing for skin healing? She's like, well, some people use Aquaphor. And I looked at her and I was like, I think I'm going to stick with Aquaphor.
Yeah. Like, okay, so chemophobia strikes again. Now, the thing that's funny to me is that if you're putting ink in the top layer of your dermis, like, how concerned can you really be about
Natural?
all natural?
Yeah, like if I was worried about being natural, I'd have 4 eyebrow hairs trying to make a brow. Like, I'm not concerned about that. Hence the tattoo on my face.
Paint your face with carob powder or something.
Seriously. Like I did not go and like find a pigmented flower in my garden.
Is there organic tattoo artists?
Right?
Vegan-based plant diets?
I know.
Silly.
Like the hypocrisy was deep there and like she didn't even see it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to diss her. My eyebrows are pretty great. She did good work. But the coconut oil, seriously.
Maybe the reason everybody else's look so weird after is because they use coconut oil instead of
Right. Maybe that's why they have blue brows.
Aquaphor. So yeah, I mean, God, I know coconut oil is everywhere. I mean, we deal with it in veterinary medicine where a dog comes in with some big hot spot and it's all sticky because they slathered it with coconut oil, and then the dog licked off the coconut oil because it tastes good.
Right.
And then the licking makes the hot spot worse and wetter. So now they have some they smell like a combination of sunburn and dysentery.
Well, that's the thing is I'm like, you're introducing mouth bacteria into a wound that is now slathered in bacterial yummies. Like coconut oil has all of the lovely things for bacteria to grow in. Like why anyone thinks this is good for wound care, I don't even know.
Well, I mean, there's one or two natural, like honey, we use, but that's very, very different chemically speaking.
It still is a sugar source.
Yeah.
And hello, the reason why we don't give honey to little kiddos is because it does grow spores in it.
Little botulism. Yeah.
So I think that like as much as people think even honey is sterile, I actually had a discussion with a mutual friend about that. And, there are some bacteria that grow in honey and, you gotta keep that in mind. And coconut oil. I just, I feel like these people that are all on the natural kick, like glom on to like one tiny study that's done crappily that said that bacteria was killed off by coconut oil. And then they make it out to be like, oh, all bacteria are killed by coconut oil. It's better than Neosporin.
Yeah. So you have like one person who does one study and you have no idea who this person is, what type of study they're running, and then they'll draw their own conclusions, because what I think a lot of people don't really understand is that when you do your study, like you're the one who also writes up your conclusions, right?
Yeah.
And so somebody else, and that's the whole point of peer review, is that they have to look and go, dude, that's a bunch of bullshit, lady, or yes or no, that was a well-structured study. And so you don't have to go through that, right? There's a lot of crappy journals out there. Like I could do a study about the effect of pancetta on my butt and, publish it and say, yep, pancetta is good for my butt. I'm going to walk around with, and I'm only saying this because I'm looking at some right there. It looks delicious.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? Is anyone who self-publishes studies, like that's suspect. Everyone in the natural community says like, oh, but that study was funded by big pharma, so you can't believe it. Okay, sure, we do need to be suspect of who funded a study, but if that big pharma study was then published in a peer-reviewed journal where they looked at study structure and the data and decided, oh, did we come to reasonable conclusions or did we not, then it doesn't really matter who paid for, the lab workers to do this study.
Well, what I think is interesting is that for me, whenever I hear a study comes out, because the news loves to run with it, it doesn't matter what the study is, my immediate reaction is skepticism. Like,
Yes.
okay, tell me who. But when it comes to like the coconut oil contingent, their immediate reaction is only skepticism if it says something they don't want it to say.
Bad.
Like if the conclusion is coconut oil is good for gingivitis, then they're like, let's do it. Let's forget what Big Dental says
Oh, God.
about fluoride. So, okay.
Gingivitis, don't get me started. That oil pulling stuff.
pulling.
Do you even know how they do that?
No, it sounds... Is it just like gargling with coconut oil? If you
mean,
like rub it? I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Like, I think they're literally gargling with coconut oil, and it's this whole, like, gargle for a certain amount of time, and then I think they swallow some of it, spit some of it out. Like, I can't gargle with Listerine for more than 20 seconds. I don't know how you're supposed to do, like, a minute of nasty, thick oil in your mouth. I feel like I'd be gagging everywhere.
But, like, okay, so I'm very confused. I guess I'm confused about all of those things. How can coconut oil possibly be like antibacterial and yet also good for cooking and yet also bleach out your teeth and also be good for healing your brows? Like there's like this nonstop list of things that it does.
Well, because it's magic. And it is like the latest cool thing, right? Olive oil, was it 10 years ago?
There's always an oil du jour. Like everybody is obsessed with a certain fat. I think we're all just so fat phobic that we're just like looking for any excuse to be allowed to eat oil in peace.
Right.
Do you remember? Okay, so mid 80s, margarine, right? We were so fat phobic that we actually made ourselves as a society be susceptible to eating margarine for like a grim 8 years.
It was literally the only thing in our households growing up.
So gross. And yet we were looking for excuses, right? Because we were starved for good fats. And so then it was mayonnaise was the thing.
Right, which makes no sense. Okay, so my family was all on the margarine craze. Yeah. We only did Miracle Whip. So clearly, like, my family was all about the, like, fakey chemical things that we put in our body. The only thing we had mayonnaise for in our household was for my mom's weekly hair treatment.
Yes!
And God, she smelled like a freaking salad.
Potato salad.
It was so gross.
My
and like
mom did that
it would
too.
be hot, and she'd put it all over, stick a plastic shower cap over that thing, and then go sit out in the sun to increase absorption. Like, what the hell? Oh God! Like,
you can't leave
potato salad in the sun.
put on your head. It's fine.
Dude, I mean, thank God she wasn't, like, licking her hair afterwards.
We're like going for a nice long car ride.
Oh, God. The smell was hideous.
Yeah, because it coats the inside of your tongue and then you can't wash it out. So my mom she had perms.
Oh, my mom did too.
Yeah.
We started doing the home perms too. And then you do your mayonnaise afterwards.
So you've got this like dry, crinkly hair that's also super greasy at the same time.
Oh, yeah. It was nasty. So nasty. And you smell hideous.
It smelled hideous. So then we moved on to olive oil, which was somewhat better. But even then, I mean, I think there are some documented reasons why it is a good oil to ingest and whatever. But I still kind of draw the line at covering my hair in it.
Right. Or like slathering it on your whole body.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, I know all of those high oil things like feel good on your skin, at least for a little bit. But I think I would rather go with one that doesn't leave an oil slick on my sheets.
True that. Like, well, my thought is like, okay, Aquaphor. I'm a huge fan of Aquaphor, which is really just highly refined Vaseline. It's petroleum oil.
Right.
But it's freaking amazing. And I love it. Like, you can hydrate. It helps with all that stuff. And then I don't smell like a salad afterwards, which is nice.
And I feel like it's okay to have different oils for different things, right?
Yes.
Like petroleum oil derivative sounds scary, but it's delightful for your skin. I wouldn't eat it.
Right. I would not, toast some veggies on the barbecue after, rolling them in Aquaphor.
But and when babies have diaper rashes, there's very specific, I know there's probably somebody slapping coconut oil on their baby's butt.
Not just somebody, lots of people.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video on it. There's YouTube videos. If you search coconut oil on YouTube, it's this amazing. What does it cure? It cures acne. It cures gingivitis. It cures cancer. You saw a video that said that.
Everything natural cures cancer because Big Pharma's blocking that the cancer cure. But it's crazy to me. Why can't we just decide coconut oil? It smells good. It tastes good when I toss it on my popcorn. By the way, I have a friend who makes some amazing popcorn that she makes with coconut oil. It's amazing. But we don't need to put it on my wounds or my dog's wounds.
If you drop some in your lap, you just leave it there. Rub it in. I don't know.
It's so bad.
I would love to trace all of this back to ground zero of because coconut oil was not a thing.
Where did big coconut oil come from?
Where did big coconut oil start? Was there some sort of guy who's look, my mayonnaise stocks are falling. So
right. I mean, coconut oil smells better than mayo.
But I'm here in my vacation home in Hawaii.
Right. Did you see that video on YouTube?
Was it the one with the guy with the whiteboard?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was great because he said coconut oil is poison, and I was like, oh good, finally.
Finally, a doctor saying the truth.
But then I realized
no,
it's going to be sarcasm because he has a big picture of kale in the background, and kale and coconut oil.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to tell you this, guys, but coconut oil is a poison.
He's a bad actor.
Very, very dangerous. I know it's been.
Thank you for saying the truth, mister.
I know this is going to go downhill.
So it's now just been recognized.
Cut.
Terrible editing.
Okay. Guys, coconuts are only dangerous if they're traveling at your head and you don't duck, okay?
Oh my God, he put a horrible graphic in it. This is your grandpa who thinks he wants to be cool.
Yeah, he's dude, I'm going to make this video and it's going to go viral.
I'm going to put a flying coconut. And it wasn't even an actual coconut being tossed across the room because that would be funny. It was a graphic.
Yeah.
Flying in a perfect horizontal line.
I would have gotten my bestie to be okay, when I say that the coconut hitting my head is the only unsafe thing, throw it at me. I'm going to duck. It's going to be hilarious.
No.
But no, he got his kid in his, media graphic class in high school,
right,
to pop a coconut image across it.
No, already,
whoops.
Guys, let me just show you why I'm just trying to figure out who they is, consider coconut oil.
They would be everybody who has a science background.
Everybody who knows anything.
Oil, a poison, because it's a saturated fat. Now, they didn't do studies on having you consume coconut oil and having it cause heart attack. No, they just ignored that link. And went right to the
P.S. Okay. That's not a thing.
Nobody says coconut oil causes heart attacks. So this is what, this guy is the prime example of every conspiracy theory thing. He's got this big whiteboard behind him. He's Alex Jones InfoWars meets John Madden. And the whole thing is just a big grab bag of conspiracy theories. He has they in quotation marks because even he doesn't know who they are.
Right. But if you say it they are, screwing up coconut oil.
He actually has written down on his board that the reason the American Heart Association doesn't support coconut oil is because coconut oil doesn't sponsor them.
Oh, okay. It's not because of the tons of research that the American Heart Association has sponsored.
No, but he's got he's got all of his things here. But if you actually look in his comment section, I mean, the guy's actually pretty dull. I don't think we need to listen to him blather on with his crappy graphics, but he puts in links to studies, right? That's supposed to make you feel better.
Oh, right here. Oh, by the way, he's Dr. Eric Berg. And I thought that's why we should listen, is because he's a physician,
doctor, yeah.
and he was saying coconut oil is actually bad. But, oh, no, he's a chiropractor.
He's a chiropractor.
Which, by the way, here's a handy rule for our listeners. If you look at a practitioner who says doctor, name, and then credentials after, like, that's not a way that any real doctors introduce themselves.
You get one or the other.
Yes. I'm Dr. A, or I'm A, comma, D-O.
Yes, I'm Dr. V, or I'm Jessica V, comma, DVM.
Yes.
Yes. Somebody who does both, they're trying too hard.
You will never see on your business cards Dr. V DVM.
That's a hot tip for you guys. If somebody did that to me once, like it was like one of those business cards, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I can't. That makes me look like amateur hour.
Right. Makes me look like a chiro. We're not having that.
And you know what's so funny about this is so this is a nutrition discussion, and I'm not gonna lie, like this comes up again a lot in veterinary medicine, and so the veterinary nutritionists talk about it and the difference between omega-6 and omega-3 and linoleic and I don't really care. Like it's way more than, and I could learn it if I wanted to, but it's just I have chosen to trust the nutritionists because they understand the research and how to read these studies, and so they tell me what it is and isn't good for, and that's so often used against people who work in general practice and, in human medicine. They don't know nutrition. They don't know anything about nutrition, blah, 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 blah. And yet the people who are making that claim also don't know. They know less. Like, okay, so fine. I don't know how much education you had on nutrition in your medical school experience. I'm sure some.
Little bit, but not massive.
But how much in chiropractor school?
Right. When they went to school for like a third of the time that I did, and most of it was on reading homemade x-rays.
No, this guy's got he's got a list of studies, and like 2 of the 3, like the links don't work.
Aww.
You have to be skeptical. Okay, so fine. You found, I'm assuming he read these studies and it said something that he liked. I mean, one of them was just kind of talking, it wasn't even talking about coconut oil specifically. It was talking about linoleic acid.
Right. So, first off, speaking of his studies, I would like to point out that he does have like a pile of studies. And again, sounds like the links don't all work, but the rest of his links are to his own keto course he's selling.
Of course.
And his download keto essentials, which are also his monetized thing. But yeah, let's go back to the linoleic acid. Like, I get it. There are some studies about linoleic acid, which is also in coconut oil.
Yeah.
But coconut oil has a lot of other shit in it too.
Yeah. It's not just.
It's not highly refined linoleic acid, which is what some of these studies are about. Like, I believe there's a study about like P. acnes, the bacteria that causes acne, that was about one of these, lipids, I believe linoleic acid, but don't quote me on it, that said, hey, highly refined lipid, this does decrease P. acnes growth. So it was extrapolated by the pro-coconut folks like, hey, well then that means that coconut oil, which has a little bit of this fatty acid, must be great for your acne.
Because the study wasn't coconut oil, right? It was on that specific component. So, I mean, I could also say that there's studies that show water is, good for your skin. Therefore, whatever you want that has water in it, like this product proves.
I can show you studies that show that water kills you because of water intoxication.
Yes.
Therefore, you should not do anything with that deadly chemical.
Right. That's what we call food baiting.
Yes. Like, come on, people. Let's look at studies, critically. And if you don't have the ability to look at them critically, which fine, that's totally okay. I don't expect my plumber to be able to read a scientific study, but, he doesn't expect me to be able to put a snake down my drain.
Yeah, I would say, like, in general, if the interpretation of a recent study is coming from a news report or a correspondent on the Dr. Oz show, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt.
Oh God, seriously. So, speaking of studies, I was reading some of these studies for coconut oil when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And, we were talking about oil pulling, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't even understand why people decide that they're going to gargle with coconut oil, but they do. And so I was like, what the heck is this study about? Okay, so there's a study that is about the effect of coconut oil in plaque-related gingivitis that was published in the Niger Medical Journal.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have a subscription to the Niger Medical Journal?
No, I'm assuming they don't really distribute it outside of the African continent. I don't know.
My guess, yeah. So, but I think that it's interesting because people are using this shit to justify oil pulling.
Yeah.
60 teenagers with gingivitis did this oil pulling for up to a month. The results showed that plaque and gingivitis were significantly decreased by day 7.
What?
I know. That's some good data.
amazing.
And continued to decrease for the duration of the study.
Wow.
So for a month of gargling with coconut oil, they decrease the bacteria in their mouth. That's freaking awesome.
No, so that's great. So what was the control doing?
Oh, there was no control in this study. Yeah.
So there was nobody gargling with water.
Listerine. Yeah.
There was nobody just brushing their teeth.
Right.
We don't really know what their routine was before.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe they were only brushing their teeth every other day.
But I will tell you, if you follow those kids out long enough, 100% of them are going to die.
So coconut oil leads to death. That's crazy.
I know. That's science for you, people.
Yeah. Again, I'm impressed by the data until I realize there's no control. And I think that's what's important, right? You need to be able to compare it to something else to know, was it coconut oil? Was it just the fact that they had gross coconut oil on their teeth when they did this a couple times a day? So they started brushing their teeth a couple times a day.
Just to get the coconut oil
Yes, to get the coconut oil off. Who knows?
Have you ever actually had a mouthful of coconut oil?
No.
I did, because I would try cooking in it. You can heat it to much higher things than olive oil, which of course the other oil du jour. But man, that stuff, it's got twice as much saturated fat in it as lard. And yet we don't have that nice poetic feeling about lard, even though technically speaking, lard has less saturated fat.
Lard is more healthy.
Would you clean your teeth with lard?
No.
Would you?
That's never been a campaign.
Rub it on your eyebrows?
No.
On your face?
No.
On your zits?
Never. Never.
Or just eat it by the spoonful to put yourself into ketosis?
Yeah. Would you say, I'm going to use lard for my weight loss plan? Don't forget to subscribe to our WooCast on iTunes, Google Play, or directly on our website at whatthewoopodcast.com. You can email us at contact@whatthewoopodcast.com or go to our website and fill out the contact form there. We'd love to hear from you.
What the Woo is an educational podcast and is not a substitute for professional care and advice. Please seek appropriate medical care for any healthcare concerns. Opinions expressed are solely those of the doctors and not those of any sponsors or employers. Thanks for listening. See you next time on What the Woo.